the first thing to obviously ask in anything like this, Sam, is what are you doing and why?
So what we're doing a 100 kilometres walk. 11 of us, in fact, sorry, 10 of us. One guy sadly pulled out the weekend with a broken toe. And we're going from Leeds Rhinos, leaving on Friday, this Friday, so the 15th September, Headingley, and hoping to arrive in Hull FC, the MKM Stadium, around 10:30. If the planning goes well, around 10:30. And we're doing that to raise money, funds, and awareness for motor neuron disease. Why we're doing that? Quite simply, just really inspired by seeing the impact of this horrible illness on Rob. Rob Burrow. That was my kind of first understanding of MND, first experience of it. What's kind of struck me more emotionally is in the last few months since we launched the challenge, the amount of personal stories that people shared with me, and the amount of people who have experienced it, family members, friends. So it's a really, really horrible disease, and we just want to do something positive to try and help find a cure.
But why this particular challenge? 100 kilometers in a day.
Yeah, so we decided I wanted to do something kind of meaningful. I thought it's sizable enough where we'd hopefully will attract a decent level of fundraising. I've listened to obviously Kevin Sinfield talk about deciding to do some of his kind of crazy things. And you want to get something that hopefully will get a bit of attention. So that we decided to do that. The reason we go from Leeds to Hull, I mean, I'm a lifelong Hull FC supporter. So followed Hull for 40 odd years. So the decision to kind of link the two clubs essentially with the link with obviously Rob Burrow, with Kevin Sinfield, and then we get to the MKM Stadium as it is now on the Saturday. And Hull have a game on Saturday. Hull have a game on Saturday as well. So so I'll hopefully be in a fit state for that.
As long as you get there before kickoff, then I know you're aiming for 10:30, but as long as you're there by kickoff.
Yeah, we're aiming for 10:30. We said we'd do it in under 24. I'm confident, anxious, a bit nervous, but confident we'll make that, and we'll definitely be at the game and have a few beers hopefully in the afternoon.
I mean, Kevin Sinfield's great and everything, but he's ruined everything for everyone now, isn't it? Because if you're going to do something for charity, you have to do something utterly ridiculous that no one's prepared to do, but we have to do these things now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we did this. We thought 100K in 24 hours. I mean, and it is. I mean, the training for it's been absolutely brutal. That's all I'd describe it. And I think the training and the personal sacrifice as well. One of my cousin's husband, Jim Harlock, he was working on rigs a couple of weeks ago. A key kind of phase in the training, and he basically walked round and round in circles on a helipad for a few hours a day. I mean, it's crazy. I think guys have been getting up at 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. to go out and do 60, 70 kilometer stretches as we get ready for it. So yeah, and most of us have never done anything on that sort of scale. I 10 years ago did a bit of marathon running. A couple of the guys have a bit similar experience, but to do 100K, you realise it's tough. I mean, me and my friend Paul James is a big Wigan fan. He's been fantastic in helping me to pull this together, Paul. And me and him and another guy, we drove the route about 3 months ago. And afterwards, we sat in the pub and had a beer, and we all said, it is a long way. I mean, sat in the car for 3 or 4 hours, you think, what have we done? So yeah, it's a big challenge, and hopefully it'll help with the awareness and obviously fundraising. That's the end of the day. We're trying to raise some cash.
I mean, how hard is it to plan a route for something like this? Because obviously you can't just, the easiest thing will be at least the whole, right, that's the M62, but obviously you can't walk down the M62.
No, I mean, as I mentioned, Paul, I think Paul spent, I was going to say hours, literally days initially on, Google Maps and Google Earth. So he gave up a load of time to work it out. and then we've obviously done a kind of recce a few months ago. There's a few, there's a few difficult patches as we kind of get into Hull in the early part of the morning. So a lot of effort around kind of planning the safety for that is obviously critical. The main goal is to get everybody back safe and hopefully everybody finish in the 100. But safety is obviously number one.
And what are the challenges you're expecting? Because obviously when you start off, you're full of adrenaline or whatever, but when you walk in, I guess 2-3 in the morning, that's. I mean, I guess you're hoping for the nice weather, not the weather we've got at the moment in the UK, which is ridiculously hot. You want something, I don't know, kind of mild. I don't know, no rain. Obviously.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I actually live in Paris, France. So I've had some pretty hot weather. Even recently, it's been incredible. Even doing some of the shorter walks. Now, I think the mental side of this is potentially. Maybe not so, but it's unbalanced certainly with the physical side. I went out and did 70k a couple of weeks ago, and you kind of hit patches at 40k where you think, what am I doing? It's Saturday, and I could still be in bed. I've got an early start. Yeah, but certainly the mental side is really hard. So the idea is really to work as a team. We're gonna have to we want everybody to get through it. So we'll just switch up. Buddy people up, different conversations. We're hoping we've got a few people coming along to do certain stretches with us to give us a kind of boost. Some of the pubs, we've got 8 or 9 stops on the route. So some of the pubs have been great. I think it's the shipping at West Cowick at around 45k. I think they're putting on some food for us and some butties and stuff. So little things and along the way. But the mental side. Brutally tough, I think.
I think that's one of the things we've seen from all of Kevin Sinfield's challenges from the documentaries and such is how important the people around him are. Not just it's not just him doing the thing. Obviously, he doesn't want the attention, but he does the thing, and there's so many people around him helping him get there. It's that teamwork that what he and Rob Burrow did on the field being taken into these other spheres.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've been fortunate in that respect. We've had some real offers of help. So we obviously got people doing support work, support driving. Yesterday we had a real bit of bad news because there's a couple who are going to help us, and due to illness they've had to sadly pull out. But again, in terms of finding that sort of team spirit, one of the guys got onto one of his friends, and within 2 hours we've got somebody who's willing to drive from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. Overnight. So that's a massive help. And I think families has been great as well. My wife has banned me talking about the walk. Once it's done, she banned me on holiday for a couple of days, but it's been quite obsessive. And, the support from family members in terms of time sacrifice and being totally distracted with it, is massive. And that's most of the guys who are doing it would say the same.
So when you get to Hull at 10:30 on Saturday morning, you're not thinking, right, here's what we're going to do next. We're going to go 200 kilometres or something even more ridiculous.
I had that conversation yesterday. We're fortunate where we live, actually, is obviously with France hosting the World Cup. So the Tonga team are actually staying just down the road. So we had a couple of beers afterwards in the garden. I said that to my wife. So I think our next one, if we could do maybe 100 miles. And she's like, there's no way you're not doing another one. A big part of it, it's all self-organised. It's what I probably haven't said, So I think if I did another one, I'd probably join an organised event and just take some of the stress away, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see. I've got my eye on doing something else, definitely. I've enjoyed it. The training, I've enjoyed the training. It's hard and painful and blisters and stuff, but I've enjoyed it.
It's amazing the impact that one man has had on pretty much on all of us who are involved in rugby league in some shape or form, who we're not related to, we don't know him personally, but it's amazing how the way he acted on the pitch and the way he's acting now has inspired so many people to do ridiculous things like this, and that's a testament to him and obviously his friendship with Kevin Sinfield.
Yeah, it's just incredible, isn't it? It's absolutely incredible, and for me, that's what inspires me, just to see the impact of this on Rob Burrow. and then to see, you know, how that kind of Leeds team, you know, which are all pretty great guys, you know, kind of have rallied and pulled together, and it's quite incredible. You know, getting the impact. You know, how Kevin's not been knighted yet is a mystery to me, but you know, hopefully that's coming. But you know, I'm a Hull FC diehard Hull FC supporter. You know, so I've stood on the terraces and, you know, booed those guys plenty of times over the years. Probably given what's for. But you know, at the end of the day, it's part of the rugby league, you know, community, and you know, Rob and Kevin, all them guys were, you know, the legends of the sport. You know what they got: 6 grand final medals, probably more. You know, it's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, try not to keep count of it. It's too depressing.
I'll see about that. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, we're just like one.
Well, you got a couple of Challenge Cups, you know, batsman. Wasn't it? But,
yeah.
How can people support you emotionally, financially? Obviously, one of those is more important, I guess.
Really important, yeah. So, I mean, obviously, we're departing Headingley promptly at 11 o'clock. That's if everything goes well. So, if anybody is around or near the Headingley area on Friday morning, so that's this Friday, the 15th September, that would be fantastic. You know, we've got a route which is on our Facebook pages. But it essentially takes us through Leeds, Castleford, Eggborough, then Goole, North Cave, and into Hull. So anyone along the route, great. We'll be having collection buckets, etc. The big one, obviously, is our Just Giving page. So we've raised just under 17,000 so far, which is obviously a sizable amount of money. I'd like to get a bit more. So the Just Giving page is www.justgiving.com/team 100 km in a day, and then you just select a team member to sponsor. So if you sponsor me, that's good. any of the guys.
I mean, hopefully, as if by magic, that link should appear on the screen. It'll certainly be in the description of the video below. Simon, we wish you all the best, and ridiculous things. I'd like to think that I could do something like this, but I've not got the fortitude or the ability or anything like this. So I am in awe of anyone who does anything like this. Best of luck to you and the team. I hope you have a safe walk, and there's no problems, and the weather is much nicer than it, well, much more comfortable than it is now, and that you get a big reception both at Leeds on Saturday and Hull on Leeds on Friday and Hull on Saturday morning.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I really appreciate you helping to do that bit of promotion for us and having me on the show. It's massively appreciated. Could I just say one thank you to Gaz Ellis? Gaz Ellis announced that he's going to leave Hull FC at the end of this season, which is obviously a huge loss. You know, you mentioned the Challenge Cups. You know, Gaz was obviously instrumental in us winning those cups, and they certainly changed my life and many others for the rest of our lives. So much appreciated to Gaz, and good luck whatever he's doing in the future.
I mean, as a Wakefield supporter, you wouldn't believe how good a number 6 he was when he was forced to play at standoff. But I look forward to reading about that in his book. So do I. Simon, thanks. All the best, and we will be cheering you on in spirit, if not in person. But I'm sure some of our viewers will try and get out and see you at 3 o'clock in the morning, wherever you are in Gould or somewhere.
I hope so. Brilliant. Thanks a lot, mate.